The following podcast contains spoilers to Infinity War. Do not listen to this podcast if you've not seen the movie.
This is the fight of our lives.
This is gonna work, Steve.
I know it is. Because I don't know what I'm gonna do if it doesn't.
This is the Buntarelli Show.
With two 30-second trailers, Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame, I wasn't sure if I had enough to do a show with, so I had to call in the big guns. So it's my pleasure returning to the show to introduce Khiim. Khiim, welcome back, buddy.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be back.
I wasn't sure where I was going to start, and I think I'm going to start with Endgame because even though Captain Marvel's coming out before that, I think the scope of everything, I think this is all going to tie into Endgame, and that includes Spider-Man. But the first thing I noticed with this Endgame trailer is what they captured was the world actually seems empty. We kind of got that sadness in the first trailer. And, you know, you and me were joking about it. We were like, oh, we didn't get much off of that first trailer. You know, everybody's sad. It just picked up where they left off. But now it's like, I don't know, kind of like a little deeper, but it's also like the scope of the actual event because you think about the heroes being gone and you forget like this, you know, half the world. And I was thinking about it driving home yesterday. I was like, if you had 200 people in a room and you knocked out 100, there's definitely a change. I mean, the empty baseball field and just like the actual world. I thought they captured that tone. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. It wasn't something that I actually took into perspective. You know, like you said, kind of had our focus on the heroes and like we lost our favorite superheroes. But yeah, when you really think about it, half the population of the world's gone. That's definitely taken like a toll on everybody, like all aspects, you know?
Yeah, I noticed like even it seemed darker. Like I bet a lot of the infrastructure, you think about like employees that are running electrical plants, government, a lot of that, it's an interesting concept to see. Like I said, we're all caught up with the superheroes and actually the general world thing kind of going on. So I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, it definitely sent in like a whole kind of apocalyptic feel to it.
Now, I know I look at the IMDb's. The real funny thing was, another reason why we're slapping both these shows together is I look at the IMDb's. I have them both in front of me, and they both look almost identical. So I noticed a couple interesting things, but I noticed basically everybody is in the IMDb. But that can mean nothing or everything. It could be a red herring or something. But I caught Tilda Swinton is in there, the Ancient One from Doctor Strange. I saw Happy Hogan. Well, the Ancient One, that's a real surprise. So I don't know if that's like an ethereal realm thing with Doctor Strange, if we're going to see. Because there has been a theory that the heroes are trapped in the Soul Stone. And I don't know if that's true directly from the comics or it's just like a theory floating around the internet. But I've seen the cast of Ant-Man, seen a lot of stuff going on there. But what's something? Nebula, caught her in the trailer. And that first trailer they showed with Tony Stark, I was kind of like, you know, they showed him alone. And I just assumed Nebula bailed on him. But that's going to be an interesting kind of thing because it does show some kind of hope of them returning home.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does. It looks like they're it almost kind of like shouts back to like, well, the first Iron Man when he's like in that cave and he's making his suit. It kind of almost has like that same feel.
I almost thought it was a flashback to Iron Man for a second because it did feel like that. I was like, are they showing a flashback? Like he's going through his, you know, his life flashing before his eyes.
Yeah.
So I'm, you know, how he gets out of that mess because kind of like the first Infinity War trailers are just showing everybody in their different spots and where they're going to cross paths and everything. Both these trailers kind of, I have another theory though. Both these trailers were kind of lackluster a little bit. And I think, you know, Donnie, a friend of the show, when I was waiting for Super Bowl trailers, he was like, hey, you know, Captain Marvel's there. And I'm like, yeah, Captain Marvel, it looks okay. And I think they're not showing us a lot of both of these movies for a couple reasons. Like Captain Marvel, I think, first of all, is going to be very character-driven because I'm not giving enough credit that you're first going to meet this hero. So there's that aspect of it. The other thing is a lot of times when they make these big special effects movies, which I got a feeling Captain Marvel is going to be, they don't have a lot of the finished layers, when they're releasing trailer bits. So that
sometimes
might be,
it's just like incomplete.
Yeah, because it's still like there's even like a Lucas was big like that. They'd show a trailer, but they're still doing like, those digital arts. It takes like layers and layers and layers. So they're probably just releasing whatever they could do. And the other thing is they don't want to show us the tie-ins to everything. You know what I mean? They don't want to show us, they don't show us the heroes even standing in front of Thanos because they don't even want to like allude to what's going on. So that's why, even Spider-Man is like, is this taking place? You watch that Spider-Man trailer and are like, is this before Infinity War? Is it after? You can't tell, which is kind of good because it's just like, I don't know. I think as they get closer, I'm almost treating like these 3 movies as one big summer event, like the resolution of everything. Yeah,
I agree. And I definitely think that they're just playing it safe, really. Mm-hmm. They don't want to let out too much. Because I know, when Infinity War had came out, there's like one shot that they released of Thanos holding his gauntlet, and they had like digitally removed some of the Infinity Stones just so you didn't know exactly what was going on. So like they definitely do go in and they definitely do go in and change stuff for trailers, just specifically to kind of throw curveballs and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And just all those heroes being in the IMDb doesn't really mean anything. But just, because there's still got to be some consequences, I believe. I don't think everybody could just come back and be all hunky-dory. But if Spider-Man does take place afterwards, my theory is if the snap is undone, however it's undone, I don't think the heroes are going to know. Or at least the ones that come back. I think it's just too heavy from Spider-Man to bounce back from. I don't know.
Yeah, you think there'll be some sort of like amnesic effect?
There's been like a shot floating around the internet, and it's the Avengers in their original costume. It's like it's Captain America in his like Avengers 1 costume, the really bad one that looked like pajamas. But he's there, and it's Thor in his original costume, but I'm not sure. I think it was either Ant-Man or Iron Man. So some of the theories going around is it might be time travel. So is the time travel to that point? The theories going around is, well, maybe they want to get more information from Loki, and that was the one time where they actually had Loki in their grasp and get info of Thanos. I'm not sure, because it's like something we weren't meant to see, and they're not even showing in the trailers. It was just something somebody took with their iPhone. But, if the snap is undone, which is kind of a little cheesy, unless there's some sacrifice and consequence to that, be it Tony Stark or Captain America, which if anybody's going to go, I think it might be one of those two, especially because of the length of their contracts. Captain America, Chris Evans had that tweet like, this has been emotional filming and everything, so I don't know, that's still all up in the air, what lasting consequences we're going to have from this.
Yeah. I agree. I definitely think it would have to be one of them to go if there was going to be some sort of a sacrificing situation. Whether it's like Captain America with one last battle, or, we've already seen before that Tony's willing to sacrifice himself for the team, and so I don't know.
It does seem like Captain America is kind of more centered in this movie, too, which is kind of cool, because I felt like he kind of took a back seat in Infinity War. And maybe it was because of the scope of everything happening, but I just felt like, I don't know, like I felt like Tony had his moments to shine, and Captain America was just kind of there. I didn't catch him but I think now you see him feeling the weight of the consequence, and especially him taking that shield. Because he's obviously not using the shield because Tony told him not to. But now I'm assuming I'm guessing they're going to assume that Tony is dead because the last thing the Hulk saw, Bruce Banner saw, was Tony going into outer space, and nobody's heard from him since. So it's probably a good theory that they're assuming he died. And now what I am curious about is, and what I'm hoping for, is if we have that Captain America Iron Man reunion. Because I just want to see some resolution to that. Even if one of them dies at the end, but it just seems like to come full circle, because you would figure it'd be like, okay, there's much bigger things happening than you and me right now. To quote Spider-Man. But I don't know. I want to see some kind of resolution to that.
Yeah, because they haven't exactly had that moment to sit down and be like, look, I know I messed up, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we couldn't see eye to eye, but, you know, yeah.
Yeah, like, let's put this behind us, because in the beginnings when I first saw the Infinity War trailers, before it was revealed that it was Hulk in the Hulkbuster armor, and I assumed it was Tony Stark, so I'm like, oh, they get back together, waiting for that reunion, which, of course, we never got, but it'd just be, I'd like to see that pay off, because that would kind of bring the saga to a close as far as, like, that first, you know, if we're making this the first 10 years and the culmination of everything, kind of, I feel like everything's got to kind of wrap up in a circle.
Yeah. And just to go back on that Captain America statement, I think as far as, like, you saying he kind of took the back burner, I just think that as a character, I think that's how Captain America always kind of is. He always takes the shot first, and he's down first, and then he comes back. He's always been that underdog. So I think, and just even, I feel like they've always kind of played upon that whenever he's not within his time era. Like, you know, Winter Soldier was his era kind of. But whenever he's, like, present day, they always kind of play on the fact that he's old. You know, he's from the old wars, you know. So I think he was just kind of shell-shocked at the scale of everything that was going on. So
yeah, and it was a little out of his league there, yeah.
Exactly. He's just like, whoa, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I've got superpowers, but even still, there's some stuff that's going on right now. And, you know, something that he probably never even thought was possible. So, you know. I think he was just kind of more startled at the moment. Yeah,
like for Thor, it's just another day at work, but yeah, it's definitely not like Captain America's usual. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think he's just like kind of taken back by everything that was going on, more so than everybody else, because you can see where everybody's coming from. You got the Guardians of the Galaxy; they're used to this intergalactic stuff. You know, you got everybody else who's kind of more, you know, adept with everything. So,
speaking of the Guardians, Rocket Raccoon, the last Guardian, just I don't know, just those shots of him is pretty sad. Like, he is stranded on Earth and just hanging out with a bunch of people he doesn't know. Well, actually, Thor's there, so he's got a relationship with Thor. But I think, well, it looks like Thor's bracing to take off for something. I don't know where Thor would go, what he would do. But, so we're going to see how Captain Marvel ties into this. And obviously from the little we've seen of her, she's definitely going to be a powerhouse. So the question is what brings her back in the fray? Where is she at the end of Captain Marvel? Like, is the end of Captain Marvel going to show her getting the text from Nick Fury? Yeah. Or did she even survive this snap? That's a curious thing. I got a feeling she is, because she's going to be like the big guns. But what I'm hoping, you know, Wonder Woman kind of had this with Justice League, because Wonder Woman came out like 2 months before Justice League. And, you know, the thought back then, like, Wonder Woman was going to be the appetizer for the big Justice League. And meanwhile, it was like Justice League ended up being the big disappointment after Wonder Woman. Because I went to Justice League like, oh, more Wonder Woman. So this is kind of the same. This is like really, like, I went to Justice League and I was like disappointed with even Wonder Woman. Like, oh man, they really just let her down, you know. But I think I'm hoping this Captain Marvel is just awesome. And then when she comes in and does her Infinity War move, it's like, if it's done right, this could be like a perfect pairing of movies. And then you got one Marvel blockbuster after another, and then you kind of got the cleanup in Spider-Man, and that kind of like smaller scale. It's actually paced out very nicely.
Yeah, Well, I just think that if they're gonna go with that of having Captain Marvel be the one to basically save the day, they're gonna definitely have to deliver in her standalone movie.
Yes,
they're gonna have to, because otherwise it's just gonna be a character that we can't actually attach to and accept, you know. But
Yeah.
if it is like you said, because you know, like the whole time travel thing or time loops or any of that kind of concept, I think it would be cool if we could see. Because remember, Strange said that there was like 14 million whatever possibilities that he saw. I think it'd be cool if during the movie we could see some of those possibilities. You know, like maybe in one of them the Hulk finally steps up and he's like, okay, I'm going at Thanos. We see them battle out, but that version doesn't play out, so it goes to a different one. Thor's going at it. You know, he's like, I killed you basically, and you kind of ripped me off when I killed you. I'm coming back at you. We see that version play out. It doesn't work. We see Captain America's version play out. It doesn't work, you know?
Oh, see a bunch of them.
I think that would be cool because there's a lot of people who are deserving of taking Thanos down, and I personally think it is possible. They basically took him out in Infinity War, you know? If
I didn't think that. Actually show us the possibilities.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I think it would be.
I got two things that popped in my head when you were saying that. So, one of them was, I forget if I mentioned this to you on the show or if it was somebody else, but I was thinking Doctor Strange, you know, he told Iron Man in the beginning, he goes, if it comes between me, you, the kid, or the stone comes first. Yeah. And then, of course, when Thanos is about to kill Iron Man, he goes, hey, I'll give you the stone, which I took as Iron Man has to play a role. Whether it's a big role or a small role, which probably means he is going to find his way back to Earth or back to wherever he needs to be. But I just think he needs to be alive. Yeah, he needs. But I think Doctor Strange knew that. You bring up something interesting about the Hulk. Now, if there was an iteration of the Hulk that it was like written by Peter David, it was drawn by Dale Keown, it was like awesome. It was an awesome run where the Hulk actually had it was the Hulk's body, but it was the mind of Bruce Banner. Did you ever read any of that or catch any?
Yeah.
I think that would be an interesting twist, especially with the struggle going on with the Hulk and Bruce Banner. It'd be kind of neat to see. I don't know, the Hulk. None of that stuff's been touched yet with the Hulk, and I think it'll be really interesting, especially if you're not going to give the Hulk a solo movie and you're just going to kind of at least to change him up and mix him up. But I would like to see the Gray Hulk. I would like to see the Smart Hulk, but I really think they should play on to some of that. Use that opportunity.
I think that they might be, and that's another one of those theories that are kind of like floating around out there. So why we don't see the Hulk in any of the trailers is because he might be this Banner Hulk, combination, and they're kind of just trying to leave that out. Or like you said before, it just could be layering of the CGI that's not finished. Yeah,
they could have got like not his shots in or anything. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I would definitely like to see that. We need more Hulk. We need more Hulk. That's definitely one of the more favored superheroes out of all the Marvel universe, and he hasn't really had any good standalone films in a while.
Well, I like him on an ensemble cast, and I like him playing the role he had in Thor. My problem with if they do a Hulk solo movie, I don't want to see him throwing tanks around again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I feel like both Hulks were like, the Edward Norton one and the his name escapes me, but that first Hulk, it was like it felt like the same movie, and I just don't want to. I don't want to see that again. If they're going to do it, take some turns, like we said, to different iterations of Hulk, or make his storyline kind of weave through the movies.
Exactly. Basically, skip the origin.
Yeah, we don't need to see the origin again. Exactly. Definitely, there's definitely a lot to think about. Definitely a lot of possibilities coming through. So it's going to be real exciting to see what the summer brings us, what the resolution is going to be, the future of the MCU, the future of the Avengers. So really excited for this summer. A lot of great content coming up. We're still waiting for a Star Wars trailer. I got a feeling that's going to come in middle of summer with these blockbusters if Disney's scaling it out right. But I want to say a special thank you to Khiim. So great having you back, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad to be back. Thank you, man.
Awesome. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.